low risk rust converter, just an aerosol spray on. Not so good for an edge like this though.
Alright, so we're just clamping up the window frame to the van. We decided to glue it on. So we've just pulled the frame supports off and it seems to be holding really well. Looks really good. Look at that. Alright, g'day. So today's second day we're going to be attacking some of these windows. Last time we cut the window on the door and it went pretty well. We did make a mistake or two. First mistake was didn't quite realise how many shards of magnetised metal would spray off the grinder. So today we are taping up as much as we can around the edges to stop those magnetic bits of hot metal hitting the paint and needing to scrape it off later. You don't want little shards of raw metal going down into the gaps because it'll rust in there. So today's plan, I've got a frame. I want to put it as high as possible, about here, so we're actually going to cut up into this frame at the top as well, but the first step is just to get these supports off. The trick here is not to hit the outside of the van and make a hole. A layer of glue just at the top here. So we'll just come down underneath that. See how we did here. So that will sit up into that gap pretty well. One of the problems you have in the van is nothing is straight. Everything's curved. That way's curved. Things can be curved that way, that way. The edges are all curved. This has got an angle on there. So what do you line things up to? Well, how do you make it straight? And I think it makes it a bit easier. It doesn't really matter if you don't quite get things straight because you're not going to be able to tell. It's all a matter of reference, isn't it? But straighten it up slightly. So I think as long as it's straight with this beam at the top, that's probably the most important thing. So now we're going to draw where the frame's going to cut out of the side of the van. Alright, so I've marked up exactly where the window's going and where the corners need to be. And now I'm going to pre-drill a hole into the corners. Then we'll tape up what we're cutting so that we don't put hot shards into the paint. Alright, it's time to grind out this window. Alright, so here we are. We've glued on the wooden frame with some Gorilla Grip glue. Clamped that onto the frame of the van. Once that's dry, we can screw in the window frame. Alright, check it out, the second window. Man, it is looking nice. They don't ever look this clean again. Managed to not make as much mess this time. See all this? All that dust is actually little bits of metal, so we're going to have to get rid of all that. Give the van a good wash down. It's amazing how far it's sprayed. And last time I didn't clean that off, and all these little bits started rusting and pitting into the paint of the van, which is not good. So if you do any grinding, make sure you get rid of everything. So all this black stuff you see around here and on the window frame, that is actually the anti-rust spray. I also used that same spray on the other side on the door, so we didn't cover up this hole last time, and it meant a whole lot of filings went down inside there. I tried to vacuum them out, but I couldn't vacuum them out, so what I've done is just spray in that gap with the anti-rust stuff, so all those little particles that are in there now are coated, and they're actually sitting on sealant, they're not sitting on metal, so they should be fine. So these Dometic windows, they have a few opening positions. You can open it right out like that. You can also lock them ajar, so that's slightly open, which is great if you want to just have a little bit of air getting in. And because these lock unless you push the button, it's very hard to poke something out to open them. And of course they've got the built-in blinds, which work pretty well. They're a little bit flimsy, they do weird things like that. And then it's got the built-in fly screen. I'm really not sure why that fly screen is white instead of the normal black, which I think would look better, but it's okay. For some reason they didn't actually supply all the screws that go with this window, so we had to get some and install some ourselves from the hardware store. What I'm thinking of doing is covering most of this up anyway with wall panel. So let's use this foam board as an example. So the wall panels will actually cover most of the window anyway. I'm assuming these are air holes to let the blinds dry, so try not to cover them up too tightly. But if we cover up the windows like that, it should be good. My only slight regret is that it was very difficult to get decent sized windows here in New Zealand. So these, I opted to get 3 windows that are all the same size. So these are 700 by 400, and you can see on this door panel it would have been nice to have a bigger one. Originally we're going to make them all the same so they match side to side, so that's why they're all the same. And these ones over this side can't be any deeper because there's the kitchen bench is going to be underneath there, and on this side the couch is going to be up to here. Down this end, again, it would have been nice to have a bigger or a longer window to fill this space up better, but of course they do make this window in 900 by 400, but you can't buy that in New Zealand. You can only get the 700 by 400. So 700 by 400 it is.